It should not be accepted. It's a fucking joke. It's
the
a
big
fucking
money
joke,
in
okay?
politics.
You got a guy who starts a sentence, and by the time he gets to the end of it, he can't remember what he said in the beginning. And then you have like the biggest con artist ever. And, you know, what about liberals? The last 3 elections, they didn't let you pick who you were voting for.
That's right.
Bernie Sanders 2 times in a row, they're like, no, fuck you. Here's the company, man. And then they stick with Mr. Magoo until like fucking 3-4 months out.
All right, so when it comes to this two-party system that we are being essentially forced to deal with, okay? And I'm pretty sure throughout this 4 years, this is going to be a consistent conversation that I myself, me personally, I'm pretty sure it's happening all throughout the US, but me personally, having these conversations with people in regards to a third party being able to win. Okay, let's just get it out there. Being able to win, and people like myself who grudgingly have to vote Democrats, you know, for the sake of the few progressives that are in that party. It is a conversation that needs to be had, but it can only go so far. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to, you know, Republicans, I would never vote Republican unless they made some crazy, out of the ballpark, completely 180 change within that party, and every single representative in that party, which, you know, hey, that's not going to happen. I would never vote Republican, because when it comes to Republican leaders in that party, they have to follow suit. They have to fall behind Donald Trump, or as we've seen in the past 8 years, they will call you what, a rhino, or they will cast you so far outside of the MAGA movement to where you become useless, and then they replace you with someone who will follow suit. We've seen that. I'm not down with that. Then we got the Democratic Party, who's essentially kind of the same way. Like, if you are a Democratic leader and you don't want to follow suit, you don't want to sustain the status quo, you know, then you're not going to be able to lead the Democratic Party. And we've seen that with Bernie Sanders. If you are trying to get in and disrupt, you know, whatever status quo systematic BS that they have to keep the rich rich, and to keep folks who are not the rich, who's not the 1%, the 99%, to keep them barely on a limb, you know. And if you're going to disrupt that, like a Bernie Sanders, a AOC, a Jamal Bowman, a Cori Bush, like, then they're not going to support you, and then you're not going to win. We've seen that time and time again, you know. And like I told you in my past videos, this is not this video, but that's the only reason why I have any hope when it comes to politics, is because of the few progressives that are in that party. If it wasn't for them, I would be pulling out my hair and just going crazy. And that might, I don't know what leads in the future. But when it comes to individuals like Bill Burr, the clip that I'm going to show you, he himself expresses his frustration with the two-party system that we have, and how they just produce people that's not representing us, but only representing their interests. You know what I'm saying? So once again, this is something that is not just us common folks are arguing about. Even people like Bill Maher, who, you know, I don't know his pockets like that, but I would just assume he might be financially stable to kind of ride the riff if there's a Republican or Democrat in leadership. You know what I'm saying? So if he can understand this, I'm pretty sure we do. So let's go ahead, take a listen, and see what he has to say.
But our tax dollars are like going to all this like horrible murder, I think was like what was so dehumanizing. I
just think the last 3 presidential elections, like what we were choosing between, shouldn't be acceptable to anybody. It should not be acceptable. It's a fucking joke. It's
the
a
big
fucking
money
joke,
in
okay?
politics.
You got a guy who starts a sentence, and by the time he gets to the end of it, he can't remember what he said in the beginning. And then you have like the biggest con artist ever. And, what about liberals? The last 3 elections, they didn't let you pick who you were voting for.
That's right.
Bernie Sanders 2 times in a row. They're like, no, fuck you. Here's the company, man. And then they stick with Mr. Magoo until like fucking 3-4 months out. I don't know. I choose to live a small life now. That's all I do. I try to go to mom and pop places.
Yeah,
try to
nice.
stay out of the box stores. I don't want, and I've gotten to the point. Not only do I not watch politics anymore, I'm starting to pull back from sports because now they're all involved in just like they're all we're entertainment leagues. You can pay college players, and now I saw some billionaire going this is a tremendous opportunity. Like these college teams are going to be for sale. It's just like, do you have to fucking own everything?
I know.
Do you have to fucking own everything? Why can't you just? And then what? If they're going to move Alabama to Memphis if they don't give them a new fucking stadium like they do at a pro level? It's like you can't get away. You can't get away. That's what I hate is you cannot fucking like. Where is my escape from all of this shit? Like I'm watching like the World Series, and in the middle of it, they have this stand up for cancer, and everybody stands up sad, holding these signs, and everybody knows somebody that dies of cancer, but nobody brings up that our food supply is totally fucking poison. And then if you sit there going like, can I just watch a fucking baseball game without being reminded that corporations are killing their own fucking countrymen? And nobody's going to do or say anything about it. But if you stand at a baseball game with fucking tears in your eyes, like the Indian with the pollution when I was a kid, which they also did nothing about, like I'm supposed to somehow feel better. It's annoying. So now I'm just into music. I just listen to music.
I love it. I love it.
I did a little show thing.
Oh,
And and once again, like I understand his frustration and his agony towards just everything that you go to, you pivot to, that you would normally have as an escape, just reminds you that politics and big corporation, greed, exploitation is just happening in one way, shape, or another. It is affecting you somehow. And that brings back to what I've been saying for months now is even if you don't care about politics, even if you hold the position to where, you're not going to vote because, Democrats is trash, Republicans are trash, anything in between is trash, you're going to vote trash here, you're going to vote trash there. You don't want to participate in politics either way. Well, guess what? I hate to break it to you. You may not mess with politics, but politics is going to mess with you regardless. Just like Bill said, like you can't even enjoy sports. And we know from other reasons, like we have entertainers, sports figures who are now participating in government or injustices. We've seen it with Kaepernick. Him kneeling, all of a sudden, football becomes political. We seen, I forget his name right now, but he tweeted, free Palestine. Next thing you know, he's being threatened of his job. We see, comedians like Bill Burr, singers and rappers. Everything is just now revolving around politics, good or bad. We have opportunists, and then we have people who are trying to get their message across the best way they can. Now, to the subject at hand, because I know it's going to be people in the comments, and this is the video for that. What about a third party? Okay. And I wish I was there with Bill, but like, hey, so what about the third party possibility? Okay. And I would love to pick his brain on that, because I think he's a pretty, intellectual individual, at least to understand what's going on in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be, a effing scholar in political science to understand, like, hey, things are kind of effed up and there's a bunch of BS going on. But my two main concerns here on what can make a valuable Green Party worth voting for, because I'm not going to vote for a third party if it's no way, chance in hell that they're going to win. Like, we're just going to once again, feed the Republican Party another win, another W. Once again, we all know the dynamics of that. I don't want to vote third party if there's no way, chance in hell they're going to win. So there's steps to what the Green Party needs to do to increase their chances of winning. And once again, I'm not within the third party conversations. I don't know what Jill Stein and Butch Ware is doing behind the scenes. And maybe that's part of the issue. But I got two key points here. You know, from the outside looking in, being, watching, observing politics for the past 3 years. This is what I came up with. Once again, if you guys have any other ideas or plans or some insight of what the Green Party is doing, let me know in the comments, or what they need to do. But my point number one is, by gaining representation in city council, governmentship, or congressional seats, they can establish credibility, grow their base, and create a pipeline of experienced candidates. I said all that to say, hey, get some people in the House, get some people in the Senate, get some sort of representation in these, I guess you could say, smaller local government positions. Let people know what the Green Party is about and how it actually looks when someone is in charge and they're green, or whatever third party it is. Let the legislation, let the governance speak for itself instead of just it being on paper. You know what I'm saying? Like with Trump, he had no experience and people took his word for it and they voted for him. In the first term, for those who liked it, they had something to go off of. Like, oh, okay, when I elect Trump, this is what I'm going to get. Which unfortunately doesn't benefit like 80% of Americans. But I want to see Green Party individuals running for these positions, winning, and then we can start to see some of the benefits of having a green candidate. I mean, once again, I'm no political scholar here, but I think that would be a good representation of what a green candidate can do for their constituents, for their state, or for their local area. Something. Give us something. And not just show up every 4 years saying, hey, we want to run America. We want to govern over 332 million people, and plus foreign affairs. Like, at least show me you can handle an area, a state. Let's start there. And then point two, engage with younger voters and use digital platforms. Hey, that's how you're watching me right now, unless you're watching somewhere else. And use digital platforms to spread their message, including visibility and influence. This is my biggest issue when it comes to the Green Party. And like I say, I know they have been making a lot of strides behind the scene. Trust me, I done watched a lot of Jill Stein interviews for the past 4 years. But that's the problem. Like, it's a good chance if you're watching me, you don't probably watched more of me than Jill Stein in the past 2 months. I'm just saying, maybe 3 months, depending on when you're watching this, of course. Like, that is a problem. I done seen more of Andrew Yang, and I subscribe to his channel just to see what they talking about, seeing what they up to. I done seen more of Andrew Yang than Jill Stein and Butch Ware. Why is that? I done seen more of Marianne Williamson. I just seen one of her videos yesterday or the day before yesterday. Where is Jill Stein? My YouTube algorithm is nothing but politics. You're going to pop up somewhere. You need to get in front of people's faces one way or another. That's the only way that you're going to get and stick in people's mind. Look at Trump. He dominated the media and he became president. You need to do something. I don't care if it's a stunt. I don't care if it's saying the most craziest things. Get in people's faces. Bring up these conversations every single day. The next 4 years is going to be nothing but chaos. This is an easy opportunity for you to get into the forefront, speak whatever you need to say, and stay on top of it. Once again, I'm not everywhere on the internet. It's just impossible. So if she is out there creating content, getting to these interviews, and I'm just not seeing it, then okay, my bad. But, like I said, YouTube done recommended me Marianne Williamson a few months ago, and I subscribed because she's a politician. She's a part of the conversation, even if it's just a small margin type of conversation. Andrew Yang, how relevant is he? I don't know. But I subscribe to him because I need to hear what he has to say. So if he does run for president, I at least know what he's been talking about the past 4 years. But once again, this Green Party needs to do something, or we're going to continue to just only have Republicans and only have Democrats. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Look at what happened to Cornel West when he went from Green to Independent. Disappeared. Look at RFK Jr. He was Independent. No, he was Democrat. Then went to Independent, and then said, "Oh shoot, I'm not going to definitely not win like this. Let me join the Republican Party." I'm just saying, if the Green Party is that third valuable option, they at least need to make it seem like that and not just show up every 4 years for the 6 months before election and then bounce a month before when they see that they can't win, they just disappear. Nah, man, that's not going to work. And it seems like that's been a consistent of the Green Party. Every 4 years, hey, vote for us. Okay, we're not going to win. See you the next 4 years. That's not going to work. So until then, we have to vote strategically. And unfortunately, my perspective is to vote Democrat and hoping that a progressive somehow, some way can get the reins of the party and steer this shit where it needs to be. But until then, hey, this is what we got to deal with. But once again, guys, thank you for watching. If you agree or disagree, this is the important part. Let me know in the comments down below, or better yet, hit that Discord button so me and you, listening, can have that one-on-one talk. And like always, let's have that conversation.